Happy Virgo season, collective. Glad to be back with y'all. So today's reading is going to be a Virgo season theme slash intention. Let this be timeless whenever it finds you, in the sense like whenever I record and create these transmissions, yes, it's done in awareness as best as I can of what's happening, what season we're in, while also always wanting the wisdom that's most relevant to you and where you're at to find you when it does. Of course, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Don't force the fit. See what comes through. Interesting to open a Virgo season reading with that introduction. Hi, I'm Dil Divine, your friendly neighborhood queer muse, oracle, and soul guide, by the way. And I am here to essentially channel wisdom from the highest and holiest good, the ancestors, angels, as well as your highest and holiest self, your soul. Wisdom, clarity, insights, essentially good tea to help you embody your greatest abundance, healing, calibration, and even if you don't get all the answers, at least to give some form of empowerment and next steps. 111 on the timer. Interesting. So some of y'all are going to be leaning into introducing and reintroducing yourself more, as well as or I should say, I'm feeling simultaneously in addition to, as well as beyond that, is, okay, thank you, Spirit, call me out. Y'all are going to be, yes, introducing yourself more and reintroducing yourself more in some ways, especially for those of you who are going to maybe be leveraging more platforms, social media outlets, radio outlets, essentially places and spaces where you may have already been showing up and or shown up in the past. However, you're bringing this now you, this more embodied you, this new and improved timeline jump, timeline shifted, bettered version of yourself. And you may not be feeling the fullness of your betterness yet. Like, I'm getting that for, I'm feeling this transitional energy. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, they're reminding me of what I was getting earlier in the day with this channel, where it's kind of, okay, Spirit, help me get like language. It's this idea where, okay, conceptually, yes, thank you, Spirit. It's like, and you have awareness that you have improved and that you very are actively improving, yet like, if there was a scale, a benchmark that you could easily like follow, like tick, tick, tick up a barometer or something like that, it's like, you have reached a new layer and level, like checkpoint unlocked, for my video game geeks and nerds out there. So yeah, like checkpoint unlocked. And with that, though, there are new upgrades, there's new empowerments, new enhancements that have been unlocked due to your increased knowledge, your experience, let alone the healing that activated and you received along the way, let alone like that is like settling in and incorporating in your form. So it's one thing to conceptually know that we've healed, right? It's one thing to know that we've upgraded, we've been enhanced. It's a whole nother thing to feel that and live from and beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Like, where, I don't know, I'm getting, it's like you get, and we're going to get into the tarot, spoiler alert, the DC tarot wanted to be here today, very much wanted this superhero and hero's journey energy. But it's like, okay, you've unlocked a new ability or a new power or a new power set, a secondary mutation, Emma Frost coming through. And it's one thing to know you have this diamond form. It's a whole nother thing to activate it and then go and play around in it, go and experiment in it, let alone, for some of y'all, I feel like you have been experimenting with it. Now you're going to be a bit more public with it. And for some of you, there's going to be layers and levels, okay? Because for some of y'all, it really is like need to know basis, like let it come up organically. I'm getting the vibe of it. And Emma for us is very strategic, in my opinion. That's a telepath from the X-Men franchise. However, you don't need to know that. Main thing, get into the descriptors. Very strategic, and while people know she loves diamonds, and it's very like synchronistic that she has a diamond form, and now it's become more common knowledge, I don't believe she was going out of her way. Like, I'm getting the vibe of her energy is like, would not be going out of her way though to advertise to her adversaries, competition, and people who haven't done their research to not know about her diamond form or not know about its capabilities, let alone its limitations. Because, for example, it said like, I don't know if she's evolved beyond this yet in recent canon. So comment down below if you know. Yet, at least from what I remember, when she's in diamond form, she cannot use her telepathy. So there's a trade-off for that like near invulnerability of the diamond form. And so it's one of those things where, yes, it's important for her to leverage that skill and talent, especially in particular as the circumstance calls for it, yet to not over rely on it. And in the context of it being newer, not broadcast it out there. You know what I'm saying? Let people discover and have to deal with this as it comes up. It's like I'm getting like need to know basis, yet I do acknowledge its need to know basis with the with the acknowledgement that there's gonna be some people that need to know. Meaning you are, and I'm getting this in the context of like partnerships, collaborations, like I'm getting business and negotiations. A lot of negotiation energy has come online at the start of this Virgo season as well. So with some of y'all, like, you know, this could be in a lot of different ways. Now, first and foremost, this is an invitation, stay ready so you ain't gotta get ready when it comes to like compensation, contracts, deals, agreements, you know, involving some form of payment in whatever currency, whatever form it is. But there is some kind of exchange, you know, even if it's bartering, we're negotiating. Could also be with purchasing, like, you know, so spoiler alert. I've been. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Thank you, Spirit. Keep me on track. Have me touch on the crystal ground. Kind of encouraging me to lean into habits and also abundance, and while being, you know, doing things step by step, encouraging me to, when I have like a little bit of change or something, invest in the hobby that I want to get into and play more, like Dungeons and Dragons in particular. I've always wanted to do it from the time I was a child, and it's popped up in a variety of ways. And I had the privilege and opportunity to play it earlier this year, this past year, and like it was super fun. And yet now I want to indulge, like leaning into that more and learning, yes, more about being a player and playing more, as well as being a dungeon master, right? And so, anywho, Spirit is having me talk about this because you are being encouraged to reconnect, and this is a part of what was channeled earlier, to either pick up and or explore, whether it's new, old, or some kind of combination of hobbies. Yes, it is understood that hobbies very much so are and or can be considered luxuries. And with that being said, a part of healing our nervous systems in alignment with abundance and not rejecting luxury is allowing ourselves to essentially build up, build out, and practice and invest in our luxuries, choosing ourselves, paying ourselves first more, and not only paying ourselves in regards to like necessities and essentials, like bare bones, because while that is very much important and very real, and as somebody who is overcoming survival mode wounds and traumas and very much like recent relapses and triggers and all that jazz. Like, I'm not just talking about this as if I haven't gone through this, like as if I haven't gone through like housing insecurity, like, and other things that can go for another time in more depth. With it being said, though, when we do have certain opportunities, seasons, moments, times in life where spirit is inviting us to choose ourselves and choose our joy and choose our creativity, it is important that we allow ourselves to indulge in those invitations. And with that being said, Spirit was like guiding me to, somehow I ended up on eBay, y'all. And eBay has certain sections where, you know, it's like, you know, traditional bidding, like an auction. Then there's like buy it now, where you just buy the item, the price is what it is. And then some of them are like buy it now or best offer, where you can like make offers. And, you know, I basically, like, I haven't been like doing a lot, but like, what was it? There were like 2 books that were like a steal, you know, that I really wanted to get to help me create the campaign that I'm envisioning. And So I like made offers, y'all, and it was like, it was like cute, like nothing crazy. Yet it was very interesting to get into that negotiation mode. Now pair this with the fact that Spirit has been since this summer, basically like seeing Real Housewives franchise. In particular, like, well, it's been a mix between Jersey, Beverly Hills. It was Atlanta earlier in the summer. Anywho, they were showing me like the well, she's a real person, but Yolanda from Beverly Hills. And she was talking about like being a strong negotiator. And it was like some episode where she was negotiating for a piece of art. And she loves artwork, you know what I'm saying? And she like haggled the out of this guy down. And she was like, in the little confessional moments, in reality TV when they talk to the camera directly, the producers. And she was like, I mean, like she was a little shade, a little read. But he was like, it's not my fault he was a terrible negotiator. And it was so funny, yet it was like giving me this negotiation vibes, and honestly seeing it on TV was empowering me. It's like, yeah, like, don't be such a punk. Not that I was being a punk, but sometimes you gotta talk to yourself and really like call yourself in, let alone out. 11:11 on the timer as I look up. Spirit fingers talking, is like negotiate, stand in your power, claim your worth. Like I get a lot of inspiration, honestly, from like strong femme identified people, women, like queer folk. Yes, there are like men who do impress me every now and again, for sure, and like masculine role models. Yet just with like my frequency and my like upbringing and so much jazz, like the women icons like really resonate and call out and call to me, in particular goddess vibes. And in the last year, I have been given multiple opportunities to see how am I choosing myself and how am I going big versus playing small, as well as what am I playing medium slash in the middle, and giving myself grace and compassion throughout that. And when Spirit has me tell these stories, this is a part of the channel. They're wanting to encourage us to claim our worth, negotiate value. Don't just take things at face value, especially in this season, okay? 1222 on the timer. It's not to say that people are inherently wrong for setting a price. However, if they open the floor for negotiation, why deny yourself the opportunity? Why deny yourself the opportunity to allow the value to go more towards your favor? If they choose to accept your offer, that means they're choosing to accept that value. You didn't do something wrong. Now, if you know you're exploiting something or someone or doing something shady, then yes, that's scumbag behavior. And like, well, then I'm not the one for you and you're probably not listening to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're consciously trying to be ick, which we know those people exist, and while we don't hyper focus on it, I'm not one of those folks who like pretends they don't exist, right? Like, if we want to hold space for the universe being everything and nothing, everything has to include, excuse me, like everything we don't like and don't want to be. Okay? Let alone everything that we do. Abundance, negotiation, value, opportunities to practice these, hobbies, because a lot of what Spirit is wanting to make sure is that as your leadership and your aligned labor, like I'm feeling growth in some kind of way. Now, this is not to, and with this, your capacity, as long as you're showing up for what you continue to identify as your like chosen healthy slash aligned habits, your capacity is growing in alignment with the growth, the increased opportunities, like the expansion that is unfolding in your life in this season, okay? Because I do feel growth, I do feel expansion, and I do feel that this is requiring a bit more conscious action in addition to conscious planning. Virgo is a very organized, logistical, efficient sign in some of the, I guess, the more stereotypical like definitions that I have run into, encountered, whoop-de-woo. And like, it's, for example, if I know like a Virgo is on a team and dealing with something regarding a plan, it's like, okay, like I do feel more rest assured that likely, as long as they're in alignment, and that's with any sign, but as long as they're in alignment, like T's and I's are going to be like crossed and dotted, and provided as long as their capacity is taken care of and they're supported, things will not only will there be an opportunity for things to be like efficient slash optimized, like as long as there's like opportunity, support, and like faith in that Virgo and confidence, they can find ways and spaces to make it more like aesthetically like pleasing or enjoyable or something like that. Like I'm not getting like full blown comfort vibes that may get a little bit more into Taurus territory. Yeah, I am feeling like that earth sign when they allow themselves to really indulge in it, like that earth sign like warmth and comfort and like coming together, like they, because a lot of what they do is, yes, for themselves and their ambitions, their plans, and their responsibilities and duties, they also do it with this intention and goal, I believe, to connect and share with others and experience it with others, is like what I'm feeling guided to say. So I am getting sharing energies and vibes. And also, before we move on, Spirit is having me say, oh, remember that there's something about, ooh, okay. Comment down below if this resonates with you, if you have articles, pieces that correlate with this. What I'm getting is like, I'm feeling like brown ancestors and like, melanated ancestors in particular, um, basically saying like decolonize, for those of you who maybe wrestle with this, like the wounds around like money due to capitalism, but there's something about an exploitation that is real. Decolonize like this aversion to haggling or negotiating and thinking that's like automatically a negative thing. Like, what if there was a framework and mindset shift where like haggling and bartering were processes of people in real time co-creating mutually decided upon like value? Like what if we really allowed it to be like what if we approached it where it wasn't so exploitative? Now we know there are exploitative situations in this now, yes. However, we also get to choose who we want to be to lead with that, while also practicing discernment, reading the room and the energy, and adjusting accordingly, let alone learning lessons and giving ourselves grace with that path. Yeah, it's like, what if we decolonize like this guilt or this stigma or this shame or this aversion to haggling, like just basically leaning into it with baggage, and just taking a step back and viewing that as a bartering process and something that has existed across many different cultures and times, most likely, let alone whatever has been documented in fact. And understand that perhaps through that, ooh, and they're getting me, ooh, I must be really feeling the Sagittarian paired with like Virgo energy vibes, because I'm a Sag. Yeah, I'm also getting Virgo. They're very studious and academic to me as well. But I was gonna say like dialectical wants to be this word coming out. So if anybody has been like using the word dialectical, or that's very relevant or resonant to you, this is absolutely like your message. Because when I get certain like vocabulary, like where it feels very like underline highlighter, you know what I'm saying, like dialectical process, the co-creative, collaborative, orative process, this is, yeah, it's giving, it's like Spirit is like saying, especially for like, it's not limited to, but especially for like my black and brown folks out there, it's like really like reclaim standing in our power. Like there's something about like being labeled with a sticker price, with a set value set arbitrarily by some entity. That, not to say that we can't have certain aligned entities to give us suggestions, guidelines based upon research, data, analysis, and whoop de whoop de woo. Not all of it is aligned. Not all of that is coming from pure sources. A lot of that is coming from elite controlling sources. So it's like by taking the power actually back into our individual and autonomous hands, we are restoring balance and harmony, and we are consistently allowing ourselves to rebalance and reset systems of value. Yes, could it be messy or a little like whoop de woo when there's something new or unknown, when we don't really fully get the value of something? For sure. However, it's like from chaos comes order. And we need to reject a lot of this static hold energy being placed upon us to just continue doing things as the way they were just because someone said so. Now, if it resonates and it's relevant and it's applicable and it ain't broken and you like it, or it's working and it feels aligned for you with your discernment, then keep it. I'm not somebody who's just saying get rid of stuff for the sake of it. What I am inviting though is how can we like participate, especially for those of us who are overcoming poverty wounds, generational curses in regards to funding and finances and credit and capital and freedom and travel and whoop-de-woo, let alone fulfillment. Engage more in our power, use our voice, leverage and overcome whatever nerves that hold us back, that held our ancestors back, that silenced us and choked us off, kept us away from the negotiating tables. Bump that. Bump that. And you know what I really want to say? Um, Okay, so we're gonna get into this. As I get into the cards, though, what I'm going to say, especially because it's interesting, DC Tarot wants to start first, and you know, normally like 9 times out of 10, I'm starting with Oracle cards. Yeah, I'm gonna shuffle these tarot because they want, especially Batman. Batman synchronicities are also going to be very strong, relevant signs. Wow, didn't even take long. I'm gonna leave that one. It's face down. I want to continue shuffling. I will start with that, but it came out quick. Let's hold on to that. Remember that. Batman symbolism was really coming through before I went into this transmission, like multiple Batman synchronicities. And one of the in particular things Spirit wants me to voice and connect in this season, in this now, is how, especially with a lot of the opportunities, thank you, Spirit, this is how it all builds. A lot of the opportunities and deals, partnerships, as well as like opportunities to negotiate in whatever form, whether it's a purchase, a deal, a collaboration, or combination for a lot of us. What separates us from being exploitative or problematic are our choices in alignment with our code of ethics, with our creeds, with our values. Okay, so I'm being reminded of Batman, like he has the no kill rule, generally speaking, in most timelines. Um, like his goal is to detain and then let the like legal system, the cops, the police, the courts, let them pretty much handle things. He just disables and hands them off. Generally, is his MO. Now, of course, there's exceptions to every rule, but that's his general intention and how he chooses to lead his life. And those are his governing values. Has he been put in situations that have put him in like flex situations, having to do something else, saving someone's life, whoop de whoop de woo? Yes. You're being guided to lead with your values, though. Choose to continue honoring your code of ethics and your creed, because there are going to be more things that are calling you, like more bat signals are going up. Y'all, like speaking of partnerships, like the bat signal came as a partnership with Commissioner Gordon of the Gotham PD. However, Batman was Batmaning for a hot minute before I think the bat signal came online. Now, I'm not an expert in Batman, not an expert in DC lore. Comment down below if y'all know the main timeline, whoop-de-woo story. Give us a link, give us a summary, TLDR down below. What we're getting, though, is Batman was Batmaning, rounding these criminals up, making the PD's life much easier, making Commissioner Gordon's life better, and then realizing that Batman was going nowhere. Batman was not going to be detained. Batman really was doing his best to be in alignment with the law while existing, above and outside of it, like white male privilege with money. Let's just own it, but he's using it for good. Like, that's what it's about. Not shaming the resources, acknowledging what they are, and channeling them towards good, using the best of all of our identities and resources, standing in our power. Do the right thing. So this is what Spirit is bringing in. It's like, remember your code of ethics. Remember. Because I have on this other tarot deck, the Libra Justice card has been on top of it, sitting there for a while now. And now, while I feel like justice is occurring, of course, Libra season is going to pop off with this energy because that's what she do. I am feeling, now not in a negative way towards me, however, I do feel like stay ready, so we ain't gotta get ready. Like, I feel like Homegirl is like really watching now. And second Aaliyah reference of the day, I'm hearing, oh boy, I've been watching you like a hawk in the sky, a fly as if you were my prey. So like, she is like watching like a hawk in the sky. Hawks may be synchronicities, Aaliyah synchronicities, but like basically, as now you're not a scumbag, so you don't really need to be worrying. As long as you're staying in alignment with your principles, values, you're up on your spiritual hygiene, you're doing the best you can day by day, honoring your capacity and putting in the work while also taking the rest to be your best, highest, and holiest self. You don't need to be worried. What we're doing, though, is when we get these reminders, sometimes I like to use it for me as like, take inventory and like, where are ways in which I could show up better for myself? Like, where can I check in and be like, wait a minute, can I be using my powers and abilities better? Like, am I using myself in the most optimal way in alignment with this version that I am now? How can I just show up for my best self, especially knowing that the universe is like, almost like watching and balancing something out. Not from a fear way, but like, how do we basically leverage these energies for motivation and inspiration? Because that's a lot of what this is about. It's like, how do we use these various, whether it's astrological, cosmic, spiritual tools, channelings, whoop-de-woo, to be our best selves, healthiest and holiest selves. And for those of us who are in alignment with it, co-create more love, abundance, fulfillment with healthy boundaries. However, this is also letting me know, like, it ain't just us being watched. Everyone, it's taken note. And by, like, Libra season is going to, where there needs to be some shakeups in the balancing of the scales, it's going to happen. However, practice your discernment and don't get linked up, chained up with the wrong influences, the wrong crowd. And at the same token, don't compromise your total autonomy and independence. Collaboration, cooperation, and partnership does not need to mean being fully subordinated or subsumed or absorbed by something. Be careful of offers and opportunities that recognize your talent, your skills, your abilities, and want it for themselves, yet want it truly for themselves and you under them, versus those that are willing to approach you as an equal, or at the very least honor your creative freedom and direction, let alone honoring your certain, like, I'm getting like proprietary rights, like things that really set you up for longevity, and it really feels interdependent and empowered versus codependent and like manipulative. It's like, be mindful, and this is where it comes into the negotiation process, is like, get clear with some of these contracts. Like, this Virgo energy is coming in the details, baby. Like, contracts are coming in, meow meow meow, and it's like, we need to be reading this. We need to be checking this, because I'm getting this vibe of like, collaborations and partnerships, and being like, wait, what are the particulars around products though with my name? And then what happens if and when our like formal relationships dissolves? Like, who retains what? Do I get royalties? Like, do y'all retain access to my image, name, and brand? Like, how do I protect myself? How do I keep the driver's seat on? And for some of you, this is going to be involving like formal legal conversations and or research on your own. I mean, we do have a lot of beautiful like Google tools, and let's face it, the AI tools are out there. People, we're using them. in various ways, and we're in an age where we're really figuring out how to use these things, knowing that they're not going away, with aligned ethics and not abuse. And there's something about putting in the research, like developing things, fleshing things out, standing in your work, negotiating your value in this season. Okay, Spirit, we're going to get the next card. See, we're really channeling. And by the way, this is another thing that you're going to be consistently guided to embrace with your expression and truth. Second card that's coming out, face up. Second card is face up. Two of Pentacles. I'm going to show it because it came out face up. Two of Pentacles. So second card, a 2-2 synchronicity. We had 1-2-2-2 earlier in the reading. That felt significant. Two of Pentacles. I love it. It's like this balancing act of commitments. Yes, and I know that's not inherently novel. I know that's associated with the conventional Rider-Waite. Yeah, I felt called to use the word commitment, specifically seeing these rings, like commitments and causes, things we commit ourselves to, devote ourselves to, pledge ourselves to, show up in alignment for, show up in service for, let alone with. Also, the orientation of the rings, I'm hearing, as above, so below, as within, so without. Those kinds of like balances, equal and opposite. And I was channeling stuff about that earlier in the reading, like talking about, acknowledging the existence of things on different sides. Yeah, what I'm getting with this one is this Virgo season is embracing more of the, in a healthy way, the push and pull, the give and take, the ebb and the flow in general of energies in living life, let alone more specifically like time, space, and action internally and inward, let alone rest and passivity, as well as time and space for external activity, action. And in particular, I'm getting like internal, like focusing on the self, bettering the self, choosing the self. And then externally is also acknowledging like interpersonal connections, social connections. Once again, like business collaboration, studies, education, like whatever it is, betterness, hobbies, like understanding that it's not only trying to exist in your inner world and spirituality and some other dimension, other realm. It's also like making the most of your 3D life and experience, making your most out of this life. And that's not just saying that in like some pressure driven like type of way. When I say making the most, I mean like legitimately doing what you can to enjoy your life more, enjoy space more, enjoy activities, enjoy the creations of this world. That is why hobbies came up so early in the reading, why it continues coming up, why, like I even mentioned Dungeons and Dragons, for example, a creative game playing experience that really invites a lot of our imagination as well as responding, let alone reacting in the moment, on the fly. And stepping into choices, decision making practices, and when you play it socially, engaging in those dynamics and how do you synergize with various personalities, characters, backgrounds, motivations, goals, intentions, trust levels, whoop de whoop de woo. And it's important that we are playing and experiencing this world, the best of it, let alone using all the discernment and wisdom that we've acquired thus far to not engage with the worst of it that we know, and to be wary and aware when our intuition is, helping us of like avoid unnecessary experiencing of ick, trash, discord, misalignment, whoop de woo, and all that jazz. So I'm getting a lot of this of like harmony, let alone because it's not just about balance. It's like this harmony and this experience of a rich inner world life and faith, as well as like the embodiment of that in the external, the enjoyment of that in the external, the showing up for that in the external. So it's like with the Green Lantern rings and the Green Lantern core, it's like each Green Lantern has their own sector or part of the galaxy that they're more or less quote unquote responsible for, and they show up in service for defense of. Yet they are a part of the Green Lantern core, and they do have a core set of values and ethics in that core. But in that core, like CORPS, it's a group, it's a collaborative effort at the end of the day. And sometimes like lanterns need to group up for special missions and stuff where they require more power, power in numbers, literally. So yeah, it's like being a strong individual while also knowing we got to sync up and team up. Even with Batman, super individual, super independent, yet he plays a role and understands being a part of a cooperative and collaborative effort beyond him, because one person can make a massive impact. Yet in a world as diverse and numerous as this, in all forms, let alone with people and embodiments alone, one is not responsible for the all in like the most direct, like, self-sacrificing kind of way. Like, no. It takes a village. It takes a village, and not everybody in the village is doing the exact same thing. Let's get one more tarot card before I flip the first one. All right, I'm getting keep them because it was more than one. Interesting. So 4 cards are face up. I will show the bottom of the deck in a minute. After the 2 of Pentacles, we have Strength with Cyborg and Beast Boy on there. Notice how it's Cyborg and Beast Boy, Teen Titans. And I was talking about teaming up, team dynamics. Because, like, could Beast Boy technically probably transform into some flying animal and like just fly above that rock if the goal was to like go down or go forward or something like that? Of course. Could Cyborg has possibly hitched a ride? Yes. Yet sometimes certain uses of power, certain uses of abilities, it just makes sense for one to do their part than the other, right? Yet it's nice to know. Also, even if one does something, it's good to know that we have multiple strategies. Yes, that Virgo energy I'm hearing again, just like heroes, multiple strategies. Some of y'all may have really been drawn to video games where choices matter, whether that's Dispatch, Baldur's Gate 3, things of that nature. I haven't played it, but The Witcher 3 has been coming up with a lot of ads and synchronicities, but where you can really make choices and customize things and possibly leverage different powers, especially different characters, and have different ways of basically responding to environments, challenges, obstacles on your path. Leveraging your strength with strategy and wisdom, as well as perhaps cooperation and collaboration, and acknowledging you have a role to play, doing your part. And it's up to you to identify, is it you in this now moment who's doing something, lifting something up? Or are you perhaps the person where you're like, I'm getting a mix of things, but however, I'm also getting for some of y'all, it's like Spirit is actually doing some of the heavy lifting for y'all in your life, / sending in maybe some blessed allies, destiny helpers, if you resonate with that. But essentially, I'm getting like soulmates, soul tribe, soul helpers popping up on your path, who are being anointed and appointed by Spirit to kind of lift up some obstacle and boulder and allow for a clearing, a space where you can essentially not like, you can use less of your energy to move forward. Like I'm getting like Lord Ganesh imagery for those of you who are familiar with that Hindu deity. Remover of obstacles, clearing a path, setting up for a successful and abundant and joyful aligned path ahead, things of that nature. Like I am getting a lot of those vibes coming through. So where it is aligned, allowing yourself to receive support, allowing yourself to receive collaboration, leveraging talents. And the cool thing is what comes after this procession of strength, the 2 bottom cards I have are like underneath, because I have the first 3 in a row and then 2 underneath. I have the Ace of Wands and then the 2 of Wands, so in order. So you are being given essentially creative energy, potential magic. You have the wand in your hands to manifest what you want, to truly co create and manifest magic, to birth, call into form. And whether it's a new version of self, new identity, new passion project, new co creation, a combination really of all the above. Because often when we co create something that does have a thing, like if, especially if it's a big passion, it is something that impacts or expands, evolves our identity, whether in part or in total. And with the Two of Wands, that's often a choices and decision making card for me. So much electricity in particular with this one, like voltage, live wire, the two coming together, looking like a gateway, a doorway, a portal. I'm getting like this vibe of like what makes you feel alive, like choosing what feels electric to you, choosing what lights you up, choosing what sparks your joy, what sparks your intellect, what stimulates you, what truly makes you feel alive and thriving, like juiced up, plugged in. What does Abraham Hicks say? Like tuned in, tapped in, tuned in, turned on, something like that. You know what I mean? But it's like these kind of vibes and vibrations. It's like you're taking the magical staff in your hand and moving forward, and you're being guided to like jump in to your life. Like look, this is the clearing of it. It's like the harmonization where you're realizing, yes, is there like labor 40/40 on the clock? Is there labor, work, service that you can be doing? Are there aligned and inspired actions that you can be taking to move the needle forward in your life? In regards to certain responsibilities and obligations. First and foremost, with yourself, your health, and your wellness, let alone maybe with like whether that's some form of business, entrepreneurship, job, career, a way to essentially get what you need to live your best life on a resource based level. You're acknowledging, like, yes, there are things to show up for in alignment and with the practice of discipline and devotion. Yet I also deserve and choose to embody the fullest life, the most fulfilled life, which does take the time to invest in one's joy, invest in one's play, invest in one's playfulness, one's creativity, one's happiness, one's co creation, socialization, imagination. With the embodiment of all of that, you're moving into really a lighter and brighter, more joyful timeline. Let's see what that first card was that was face down. You can't make this up. The Three of Wands. You can't make this up. Look at these coming together. These three wands coming together. Now, I know this isn't Three of Pentacles, which is often the conventional collaboration and teamwork. I was getting a lot of leveraging teams, though, and the way this is coming together, this trifecta energy, I am feeling like Trinity energies, like Trinity entity alignment support, like, and I'm being reminded of something I overheard. I apologize, I can't remember when and where, but it was something within the last 24 hours. I don't know which part I heard it, but it was like talking about how in like any type of relationship, it's like, there's this person, or party A, party B, and then there's like that third entity, that third party that is the entity that comes from the co-creation and the union of these two coming together, that sort of thing. So a lot of this co-creative energy, this teamwork energy, this vibe, and with the wands energy and moving forward, it's like you're choosing to collaborate. You're choosing to jump, like you jumping into that timeline. It's like it's bringing you into alignment with soul family and soul tribe. Like you're meeting up. I've been getting a lot of nexus energies, and more on that will come in the future. But a lot of this nexus meeting up, coming together at the nexus, multiversal, meeting in a new plane, and like shifting timelines, and then moving forward on adventures together from there, and like this cosmically aligned meeting point, this destined meeting point. And it's interesting that this came at the end of the reading. It's almost like I almost feel like it needed to work backwards for you to receive this activation and this revelation and accept it and be like more tuned in, tapped in, turned on, whatever it is, to fully receive it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because the way I'm feeling it is too, is like, you have been, there's already been some projects and things from Leo season that you have been showing up for, or you did show up for, and you did your contribution, and you shined your talent, you shined your light, you shined and shared your magic, you co-created. Um, And so it's like I'm getting things twofold. It's like on the one hand, there's certain things that are coming to a close, maybe in a good way, an aligned way. Like you did the job, you fulfilled the task, whatever, whatever. You made that magic, star power, star quality. And then it was about, okay, taking the time to harmonize again, rebalance, like we completed the work. So we're not all work, taking the time for play, the hobbies. And then in that, that has allowed spirit, let alone like destiny, soul helper, soul tribe, to help really honestly like cut down some obstacles and resistance on the path, because you've taken the time to enjoy and play, let alone rest, but especially the play, the hobbies. You have actually decreased resistance in your life. You have allowed for help to come in, and I was going to say also hope to come in. um, and making things easier, versus if you would have just like almost kept trucking along or trying to force the fit or something, or denying yourself fun, denying yourself play, you would have had that resistance. And I feel as though it wouldn't have created the space or opportunity for the support. So it's very interesting with this collective. While I acknowledge some of y'all take what resonates, leave what doesn't, I feel like with this collective, we are being called more to like acknowledge being Beast Boy, being the lion on the card, as opposed to Cyborg. Cyborg representing a combination of spirit helping us and clearing obstacles on the path, Lord Ganesha synchronicities, as well as like I said, the soul family, the soul tribe, the destiny helpers that are appearing up in our physical reality to help us with the removal of obstacles or what have you, whoop-de-woo. So it is very interesting. And it's like, so we went forward. There's something about like you did this collaboration in this work, recent projects or something, and now you're getting like the path cleared and new energy, new faith and power to move forward. You've jumped into this timeline, and now it's like I'm getting, and I also was thinking about this earlier. It's like rinse, lather, repeat. You know how they say with like shampoo and conditioner, rinse, lather, repeat energy? I'm feeling like that's what's happened, where you're about to do rinse, lather, repeat. However, it's not like you're about to just do the same thing, um, like a boring repeat per se. Now, some of you, it may be like a couple of those if you do have like quote unquote repetitive work. However, it brings you a good check and you do ultimately like you're cool with it. You may get some of that going on. It's up to you to choose to accept it. Don't pigeonhole yourself, especially if you've been called to expand and grow. Yeah, for some of you, you may get some of that. Yeah, what I'm getting is like, it's more so like conceptually, where you're going to be applying these skill sets. You're going to be taking it to new layers, new heights, newer co-creations, maybe doing this with other organizations, other parties, where you're doing what you've done over here. But obviously every case, every client, every customer, every patron is unique. So yes, while we may be consistent with our service provision, our menu to a point, when you do work in some level of bespoke services, or maybe we need to have more tailor-made or customized connections, like there has to be that space for that creativity and that uniqueness is what I'm getting. And that's what's going to be unfolding. What's the bottom of the deck, Spirit? The Six of Swords. Look at the Six of Swords coming in here. And all this red on this card. Also, I just meant, thank you for calling me back. In this, I realized like there was red in the eyes of Beast Boy. Like not in a scary way. Also a lot of red in Cyborg. And a lot of that with the wands, I'm feeling a lot of this red with wands. A lot of this fire, this passion, this creation. Six of Swords often represents like moving forward unto peace, support, calmer waters. With this one, I feel like with this one, you're going to be at peace in your mind, body, and thoughts, because you're getting your ducks in a row. It's reminding me of what I was channeling earlier with that Virgo energy vibe. You're getting your ducks in a row. You're crossing your T's, you're dotting your I's, and you're getting things in place. Everything is starting to have its own place and space grounding and rooting. There are some things that you do already have pretty rooted, especially with that red root chakra, rooted in your mind, rooted in your intention, like decisions are made and locked in. So that's why, and the calling with the Three of Wands. So that's why I'm saying we're about to do the rinse, lather, repeat. Rinse, lather, repeat. It's about to lock in that next layer and level, whether it's the next round of personal wellness and habits that you've been expanding into, the next phase of your business and or career, the next investment and embodiment and showing up for your play, pleasure, and hobbies. Really stepping further into living your best life and allowing the sharpness of your mind to work for you. And also being okay with sometimes if a sword falls down, wobbles, tumbles, goes askew, as much as we may strive for perfection, strive for things to remain in order, be in order, we got to understand sometimes the winds come a-blowing. Sometimes the earthquakes come, the hurricanes, the tsunamis, like forces of nature, cosmic events and happening, external forces. Needing to adjust to external forces and external influences is not a problem or a failure in and of itself. For some of y'all, it's like giving yourself grace, space, and I'm hearing from spirit a break from like being affected. I'm feeling guided to invite, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because I don't like to command people and tell them what to do. Okay, so truly only receive this if it resonates. Please don't force the fit. Contact information, I am dildivine.com if you want to book a personal reading with me. Don't. There's something about like not punishing yourself for being affected by an external influence, an external party, like for being vulnerable, for not being invulnerable. There's something about being more okay and having greater acceptance, compassion, grace for having been affected, for having been impacted by maybe some negative situations, toxic parties, events, whatever combination, whatever resonates for you is coming up. Because it's really, in a loving way, it's it's inhumane to your own humanity. It's unkind to your own humanity. It's a deprivation of your own human experience. It's a dismissal of that. It's a robbery of that. Like I'm getting this vibe and energy in the most loving way from spirit where it's like, yes, we take accountability for the doors we open, for what we entertain, for what we choose, for what we decide. That, in and of itself, while we can take accountability for how we may end up in certain situations when and where applicable, that doesn't mean we need to be taking on all of the responsibility and accountability for other people's choices, especially those that are toxic and or harmful. Well, toxic is harmful. Um, there's something about, especially if you're someone who is seeking to praise and celebrate vulnerability and taking the risk to love and be loved, taking the risk to be a friend, taking the risk to be a community member, taking the risk to be a business owner, taking the risk to be the employee, taking the risk to show up, taking the risk to speak, taking the risk to share, taking the risk to serve, taking the risk to work. Give yourself a break if and when there are disconnects, miscommunications, and or things going left. Life is not meant to be some nearly autopilot, perfect simulation. Like for those of you who see video games, I don't know if a lot of people have felt like this trend, although I don't really play them. Like there's been a lot of like simulator, let alone tycoon games that have popped up in the last recent years, but a lot of simulators I see simulating like various things. Like some can be quite mundane, it looks like I don't know, like a tractor simulator, a car simulator. And I'm not knocking people creating things and what have you. Yet it's like so many things are like simulators for real life situations, real life places, real life vibes. And sometimes I wonder like it just seems so interesting to me that some of the most grindy types of things are put into video game form, and how some folks, it's like, is the goal to have them grind possibly all day, at least, in certain mainstream matrix invitations and pressures and realities, to then like go and do like another grindy like task and capitalist like thing. And I'm not trying to be over dramatic with the capitalism stuff, you know what I mean? Like there's realness in that. And yeah, I'm feeling guided to just talk about how it feels. There are lots of ways in which our attention is seeking to be rerouted and directed in ways that either limit creativity, limit the extraordinary or the experience, let alone the expectation of the extraordinary, the expectation of the miraculous. And it's so important that you invest in your abundance, in your fullness, in this more well rounded approach for life. And it's not just about investing money or capital, it's about investing time, energy, focus, enjoyment with it, showing up consistently while not putting yourself all like arbitrarily on some kind of pace for perfection. A lot of y'all have done a lot of work to shift out and away from a conventional 9 to 5, or at the very least, a very conventional approach to life. Like a lot of this collective I'm channeling, even if you work, a 9 to 5 job or whatever, you are still someone who, while you honor the systems that you need to, I feel like you do your best to be like the change you want to see. Like you're not somebody who's trying to play all the petty games, engage in the rudeness, the nice, nasty behaviors, like participating in misery, entertaining disrespect, unhealthy gossip, slander, defamation, things of that nature. It's like you're really trying to make the world a better place from whatever corner, whatever desk, whatever space you may be at. And that's not to say that you're putting yourself on some Mother Teresa standard or pressure or pedestal or any of that. Rather, it's like you're just trying to be a kind person who doesn't do scummy, exploitative things, who does care about the quality and showing up, as their best in life. You understand, like you appreciate your opportunities with gratitude and you give it your best shot. And even when you know you're not at your best, you still put your best effort, if that makes sense. And when you don't, you are also willing to take accountability for that. And with that being said, I feel as though Spirit is saying is like, you're being rewarded. You're being rewarded and assisted for this wisdom. You're being rewarded and assisted for this accountability. You're being rewarded and assisted for these codes of ethics, for this growth. And this is what's empowering you to really be in the big leagues. This is what's empowering you to really be in those aligned, empowered collaborations, cooperations, partnerships, and synergies. This is what allows you to have trust and faith even more when it's time for you to, like, essentially I'm getting like hold back, not in like a resting way, but hold back and wait and know when it really is the best time for you to take aligned and inspired action versus allowing that of your spirit guides and or allies, fellow party members. All right, let's get, thank you, Spirit, before I get any more sleepy with this reading. We have the drum with dream and journey. Medicine Mother, honor your inner knowing. And heart guardian, love and let yourself be loved. Love and let yourself be loved. Honor your inner knowing, Medicine Mother. And then dream and journey with the drum. And I feel guided. I need to hydrate. Collective, make sure you always have water. Be hydrating, especially when you're doing any form of spiritual work or receiving. What I'm feeling with this, I know it may seem really simple. However, I love when Spirit reminds us, like, when it's applicable and relevant, let it be simple. You're going to be the one who makes it as unique and complex as your life deserves and needs. And I'm choosing the word complex. I did not say complicated. They are not the same thing. And I want to make sure, like, to continue to destroy, like, whatever foul programming is out there to try to make people think that complex things are inherently complicated and or problematic. We can think of complex as sophisticated, detailed, nuanced, multidimensional, multifaceted, multi-layered. While it is lovely when we can reduce things in very simplistic this or that terms, that's not always the case for things. And some of the most beautiful creations, buildings, paintings, artwork, whatever, it's a layered process and builds upon each other. And there's something about that coming through here. And so with Dream and Journey, honor your inner knowing and love and let yourself be loved. A lot of what I'm getting, aside from the social aspect, which I think I spoke quite a bit about throughout this reading, allowing ourselves to connect with community, soul, family, soul, tribe, love and be loved, like exchange in connection and communication, need to know basis, yet acknowledging there are people who quote unquote deserve and need to know. The honor your inner knowing and the dream and journey, I feel as though it's about giving yourself credit and faith for how you have been showing up for yourself thus far, and to, like, I'm feeling like continue investing in your dreams and taking the steps forward to embody them. And it's not only dreams as in your biggest, like, ambitious work goals, although that is a part of it. It's like, for example, they're just making it simple. For example, like, from the time I was young, I wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. That is a joyful dream of mine. And it may be a hobby. It may not be someone's biggest dream, let alone my biggest dream or vision. It is a dream I've had for a while. And Spirit is helping me take the steps to engage in that hobby, in that practice, in that joy, in that long-standing dream, in that dream that does not go away and is only getting stronger with age. So you may want to apply some of that energy, of course, if it resonates. Deep breath. You're so on point. Allow yourself to make the decisions that truly light you up and spark you up, that truly resonate with you. You feel the electricity, you feel the currents, you feel the charge, you feel the pull, you feel the magnetism. And by choosing what lights you up, choosing what you love, it is bringing in opportunities for you to receive more love, to be loved. So as best as you can, allow that to happen. Lean into that. Anything else, Spirit? Okay. Thank you so much for allowing me to, like, take a moment to just, like, breathe and channel. I feel as though Spirit is, like, pretty complete with this. So comment down below and let me know what resonated the most for and with you. What stuck out, and how are you going to be applying this in Virgo season? And then let me know when this finds you as well, what is resonating right off the cuff, as well as feel free to come back to this video as guided throughout Virgo season, or whenever you feel you want to check in with maybe one of your own Virgo placements for some insights. If you are a Virgo, I would love for you to comment down below, because I want to see if there are Virgos here watching these videos, receiving these transmissions and resonating, because I'm thinking about doing maybe a, like, Virgo placement, pick a card in honor of your season, and doing that with zodiac signs moving forward. So let me know if that's something that Virgos would want. Comment down below with your placement anyway, if you feel free, if you want to engage and connect. I'm a Sagittarius, Sun. And yay! All right, I'm Dil Divine, your friendly neighborhood queer muse, oracle, and soul guide. Contact information, once again, is down below. Feel free. I am available for readings, whether recorded or live, in addition to energy calibrations and charm casting and coaching. All right, I'm sending y'all love, hugs, and gratitude, and I will be back soon.